The sun set over the bustling city of New York. People hurried home after a long day of work. Cars honked and the streets were alive with chatter. In the heart of the city, Alex Thompson sat in his small apartment. He was an engineer who loved his job, he enjoyed solving problems, and he found joy in creating new things. But that evening something felt different. A tension hung in the air, and the news on the television was alarming. Suddenly, a loud explosion shook the ground. Alex jumped from his chair and rushed to the window. He saw a bright light in the distance, followed by dark smoke rising into the sky. People on the streets screamed and ran in all directions. Alex's heart raced. He quickly grabbed his phone and turned on the news. "Breaking news," the anchor said, her voice shaky. "An alien race known as the Xantari has launched an attack on Earth. They have used a powerful bomb that destroyed a major city." Alex felt a chill run down his spine. He knew this was not just a movie. It was real, and it was happening right now. As he watched the news, the anchor reported that the explosion had devastated the city of Chicago. Buildings crumbled, and countless lives were at risk. Alex felt a wave of fear wash over him. He knew he had to do something. He quickly grabbed his jacket and left his apartment. Joining the rush of people trying to escape the chaos, the streets were filled with panic. People shouted and cried as they tried to find safety. Alex made his way to the nearest subway station, hoping to find shelter underground. As he descended the stairs, he noticed a group of people gathered around a small television screen. They were all watching the news. The anchor reported that the Xantari had sent more ships and more attacks. Were expected, Alex joined the crowd, his heart pounding. He listened as the anchor explained the situation. The Xantari were advanced aliens with technology far beyond anything humanity had. They had launched their attack without warning, and now they had the upper hand. United Nations had called an emergency meeting to discuss how to respond. After a few minutes, Alex decided to leave the subway station. He needed to get to his workplace. As an engineer, he believed he could help in some way. We knew that his skills could be useful in this crisis. He rushed back to the surface and ran towards the engineering lab where he worked. The streets were still chaotic, but he pushed through the crowd, determined to reach his destination. When he arrived at the lab, he found it filled with people. Scientists and engineers were gathered around, discussing what to do next. The head of the lab, Dr. Williams, stood at the front, trying to organize everyone. Alex felt a sense of urgency in the room. He quickly joined the group, eager to contribute. "Listen up, everyone," Dr. Williams said. "We need to assess the damage and figure out how to protect ourselves. The Xantari have shown they are capable of great destruction. We must work together to find a solution." Alex raised his hand. "Could reverse engineer their technology? If we can understand how their bomb works, maybe we can find a way to stop them." Dr. Williams nodded. "That's a good idea, Alex. We need all hands on deck. Everyone break into teams. One group will analyze the bomb, while another will work on developing a defense system. We have to be quick. Every second counts." The team quickly divided into groups. Alex joined the group that would analyze the alien bomb. They had managed to recover a part of it from the wreckage in Chicago. It was a strange, metallic object unlike anything they had ever seen. The material was smooth and shiny, with strange symbols and patterns etched into its surface. As they examined the bomb, Alex felt a mix of fear and excitement. He knew they were dealing with something dangerous, but he also felt a thrill at the challenge. The team worked diligently, taking notes and running tests. The atmosphere in the lab was tense but focused. As the hours passed, they uncovered some of the bomb's secrets. It was designed to adapt to any attack. If they tried to disable it, it would find a way to counteract their efforts. This realization worried Alex. How could they possibly fight back against such a powerful weapon? One of the scientists, Jenna, spoke up. "This technology is far beyond our understanding. We cannot simply dismantle it. We need a new plan." Alex thought for a moment. What if we could make it stronger? If we enhance its capabilities, we could send it back to the Xantari. They would never see it coming. The room fell silent as everyone considered Alex's idea. Dr. Williams looked thoughtful. It's risky, but it might be our only chance. We need to act fast. If we can turn their own weapon against them, we might stand a chance. The team reluctantly agreed to Alex's plan. They began brainstorming ways to enhance the bomb's power. They worked late into the night, fueled by coffee and determination. The lab buzzed with energy as they shared ideas and drew up designs. As dawn broke, they had a rough plan in place. They would focus on amplifying the bomb's energy source and improving its targeting system. If they succeeded, they could send the bomb back to the Zantari fleet, hitting them where it hurt as they prepared for the next phase of their plan. Alex couldn't shake the feeling of responsibility weighing on his shoulders. They were about to take a dangerous step, one that could change the fate of humanity. Later that morning, they gathered for a meeting. Dr. Williams laid out the strategy. We will work in shifts to speed up the process. Remember, we are not only fighting for ourselves, but for everyone on Earth. We must succeed. With renewed determination, Alex and the team got to work. They knew the risk was high, but they also knew that failure was not an option. The fate of humanity rested on their shoulders. They were ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead. As they dove deeper into their work, the sound of sirens echoed outside. The city was still in chaos, but within the walls of the lab, they were united in purpose. Together, they would fight back against the Zantari and reclaim their world. Alex felt a sense of hope rising within him. Scientists, they were defenders of Earth, and together, they would find a way to turn the tide of this battle. The lab was filled with a sense of urgency as Alex and his team gathered around the alien bomb. They had worked through the night, and the exhaustion showed on their faces. But the thought of the Zantari threat kept them focused. They knew they had to understand the bomb if they wanted to enhance it and send it back. Dr. Williams stood at the front of the room, looking serious. We need to analyze this bomb carefully. It is unlike anything we have ever seen, if we can figure out how. It works. We can find a way to make it better. Alex nodded, feeling the weight of responsibility. He was determined to help. The team gathered around the table where the bomb was placed, looked strange and alien with smooth lines and glowing parts. The symbols on its surface glimmered. In the lab lights, Jenna, one of the scientists, began to take notes. Let's start by examining the outer shell. We need to see what materials they used. She pointed to a section of the bomb. If we know what it is made of, we can think about how to improve it. The team began to work, carefully examining every part of the bomb. They used tools to take measurements and samples. Alex felt a mix of fear and excitement as he touched. The cold surface of the bomb was powerful and dangerous, but it was also their only chance to fight back. As they worked, they discussed their findings. The bomb is designed to absorb energy, one of the engineers, Mike said. Can find a way to increase that energy, it could become even more powerful. Alex thought about this. What if we could add a new energy source? Something that could give it a boost? We could use our own technology to make it stronger. Dr. Williams listened carefully. That could work. We need to find something that can increase its power without making it unstable. We don't want it to explode on us before we launch it. The team continued to analyze the bomb, looking for the energy source. They discovered a small chamber inside that seemed to hold energy. This is the heart of the bomb, Jenna said as she pointed to the chamber. If we can enhance this part, we might be able to increase its power. They spent hours discussing different ways to boost the energy source. Ideas flew around the room, and everyone contributed. What about using a fusion energy system? Alex suggested. It's powerful and could give us the boost we need. Dr. Williams raised an eyebrow. Fusion energy? That's ambitious. It could work, but we need to be careful. We will have to modify the bomb to handle the new energy source. The team agreed to pursue this idea. They quickly gathered information on fusion energy and began to design a plan. They worked together, combining their knowledge and skills. The atmosphere in the lab grew tense as they focused on their goal. As the day turned into night, the team continued to push forward. They built models and conducted simulations to see how the fusion energy would interact with the bomb. The lab was filled with the sounds of machines and conversations as everyone worked tirelessly. Finally, after days of work, they had a prototype ready. Alex felt a surge of excitement as they prepared to test their enhanced energy source. "This is it," he said to the team. "If this works, we could turn the tide against the Xantari." The team gathered around the testing area. Jenna set up the equipment. "We need to be cautious. This is an untested energy source, and we have no idea how the bomb will react." With everyone on edge, they activated the prototype. The machines hummed to life, and a bright light filled the room. Alex watched as the energy began to flow into the bomb. It pulsed and glowed, responding to the new power source. Suddenly, the lights flickered, and alarms began to sound. "Shut it down! Shut it down!" Dr. Williams shouted. The team scrambled to turn off the machines, but the bomb continued to pulse with energy. In a panic, Alex rushed forward. "We have to stabilize it," he yelled, quickly grabbed a control panel and began to input commands. He focused on calming the energy flow, trying to maintain control. The bomb shook violently, and Alex felt a surge of fear. He knew they were close to losing everything. But just as he thought all hope was lost, he managed to stabilize the energy. The bomb stopped shaking, and the lights returned to normal. The team let out a collective sigh of relief. "That was too close," Jenna said, wiping her brow. "Need to be more careful next time." Dr. Williams looked at Alex with respect. "You did well, Alex. You managed to control it when it mattered most. We need to make more adjustments." Before we proceed, they spent the next few days refining their design. They added safety features to ensure that the energy source would not become unstable. They also worked on improving the bomb's targeting system. If they were going to send it back to the Xantari, they needed to make sure it would hit its target as they worked. Alex couldn't shake the feeling of weight on his shoulders. They were not just creating a weapon, they were making a choice that could change the future of humanity. He often thought about the people in Chicago and the lives that had been lost. This drove him to work harder and faster. Finally, after weeks of hard work, they were ready for another test. The team gathered once again in front of the bomb. This time, they felt more confident. They had made significant improvements, and they believed they could control the power. Jenna activated the testing equipment, and the bomb glowed to life. The energy flowed smoothly, and everyone held their breath. Alex watched carefully, ready to intervene if anything went wrong, as the test continued. The bomb's systems responded perfectly. Energy levels remained stable, and the targeting system locked onto an imaginary point on the wall. The room erupted in cheers as they realized they had succeeded. Dr. Williams smiled proudly. "This is a major step forward. We can now start preparing for the launch." The team felt a mix of excitement and fear. They were about to send the bomb back to the Xantari, and they knew the risks involved. But they also felt a sense of purpose. They were not just fighting for themselves, but for all of humanity. As they prepared for the launch, Alex took a moment to reflect. He knew that they were on the edge of something great. They had turned a tool of destruction into a weapon of hope. With determination in their hearts, they were ready to face the Xantari and reclaim their world. With plans in place and the bomb enhanced, the team knew the next step was crucial. They were ready to take the fight back to the aliens. The fate of humanity hung in the balance, and they were determined to win. The mood in the lab was tense as the team prepared for the next phase of their plan. After weeks of hard work, they had enhanced the bomb and were ready to launch it back at the Xantari. Alex felt both excitement and fear as he looked around the room. Everyone was focused, knowing that their efforts could change the fate of Earth. Dr. Williams called for everyone's attention. "We have made great progress. The bomb is ready, but we must be careful. We need to ensure that it is launched at the right moment and with the right target. If we miss, we could lose our chance." The team nodded, understanding the gravity of the situation. They had worked hard to improve the bomb's targeting system. They knew the Xantari would not sit back and let them launch it without a fight. Alex felt a knot in his stomach as he thought about the danger they were about to face. They gathered around a large screen that displayed the Xantari fleet hovering above Earth. The ships were massive and intimidating. Alex could see how many there were. We need to find a weak point in their defenses, he said, pointing at the screen. If we can identify where they are vulnerable, we can aim the bomb at that spot. The team began to analyze the images. They looked for patterns in the Xantari movements and tried to find any weaknesses. As they studied the fleet, Jenna pointed to a group of ships that were slightly apart from the others. What about those? They seem to be less protected. Dr. Williams studied the screen closely. Good eye, Jenna. If we can hit that group, it could create chaos among their ranks. We should target that area. With the target selected, the team started working on the launch plan. They needed to coordinate their efforts with military forces that were preparing for a counterattack. Alex felt a sense of urgency as they contacted the military command center. They explained their plan and the target they had chosen. Are you sure about this? The military commander asked over the radio. This is a risky move. If the bomb fails, we could lose everything. Alex took a deep breath. We have worked hard to improve the bomb. We believe it will work. We just need your support during the launch. After a long pause, the commander agreed. All right. We will provide cover for the launch, but you must be ready. The Xantari will not let you launch without a fight. Team quickly got to work preparing for the launch. They gathered all the necessary equipment and made sure everything was in working order. Alex felt the tension in the air as they moved. Everyone knew that this was one of the most important moments in their lives. As they finished preparations, Dr. Williams called for a final meeting. Listen carefully, everyone. We have come too far to turn back now. We are fighting for our planet and our people. We have to stay focused and work together. We can do this. With that, they began to move towards the launch site. The atmosphere outside was filled with anticipation. Military personnel were ready, and the area was surrounded by security. Alex felt both nervous and excited as they approached the launch platform. They arrived at the launch site, and the bomb was carefully loaded onto a spacecraft. The team watched as the technicians secured it in place. This is it, Jenna said, her voice steady. We are about to make history. As the countdown began, the team prepared for the launch. Alex took a moment to look at the faces around him. Everyone was focused and determined. They had all worked hard. Now it was time to see if their efforts would pay off. 10 seconds to launch, the voice of the technician announced. Alex's heart raced. He felt the weight of the moment pressing down on him. This was not just a test. It was a real mission with real consequences. 5 seconds, the technician continued. Alex took a deep breath, trying to calm his nerves. He knew they had done everything they could. Now it was up to the bomb. 3, 2, 1. Launch. The spacecraft roared to life as it lifted off the ground. Alex watched in awe as it soared into the sky. The team cheered, their excitement palpable. The bomb was on its way to the Xantari. Fleet, as the spacecraft climbed higher, the team followed its progress on the screens in front of them. They could see the bomb moving toward its target. Alex felt a surge of hope. They had done it. They had taken the first step in reclaiming their world. But just as they were celebrating, alarms began to sound in the control room. We have detected Xantari ships moving toward the launch area, technician shouted. They know we launched the bomb. Panic spread through the room as everyone scrambled to respond. Get the defense systems online, Dr. Williams ordered. We need to protect ourselves while the bomb reaches its target. Alex felt his heart racing as he worked alongside his team to prepare for the incoming Xantari ships. They quickly activated the defense systems and prepared to engage in battle. Outside, the sky was filled with enemy ships moving toward them. The team watched the screens, their eyes glued to the action. Xantari ships began to fire upon the launch site, and explosions lit up the sky. Alex could see the devastation unfold outside. Stay calm, Dr. Williams shouted. We need to focus on our job. The bomb is still on course. As the battle raged on, Alex felt a mix of fear and determination. They had come too far to let the Xantari stop them now. He focused on the screens, tracking the bomb's progress. It was nearing the target area. Suddenly the screen showed a massive explosion in the distance. The bomb had detonated. The team erupted in cheers, but the celebration was short-lived. The Xantari were still attacking, and the launch site was under heavy fire. Get to the shelters, Dr. Williams ordered. We need to protect ourselves. The team quickly moved to the safety of the shelters as the Xantari continued their assault. Alex felt the ground shake beneath him as explosions rocked the area. He knew they had to stay strong, even in the face of danger. As they waited in the shelter, Alex's mind raced with thoughts. Had they succeeded? Had the bomb done enough damage? To the Xantari. He hoped that their sacrifice would not be in vain. After what felt like hours, the sounds of battle began to fade. Slowly, the team emerged from the shelter to assess the damage. The launch site was in ruins, but the Xantari ships were retreating. Alex could hardly believe what he was seeing. "Did we do it?" he asked, looking at Dr. Williams. Dr. Williams nodded, a look of relief on his face. "It seems the Xantari are pulling back. We may have turned the tide of this battle." The team erupted in cheers once again. They had fought hard and made great sacrifices, but they had succeeded in their mission. Alex felt a wave of pride wash over him. They had turned the alien weapon against its creators, and it had worked. As they began to regroup and assess the situation, Alex knew that their fight was far from over. The Xantari would not give up easily, but for now, they had won a significant battle, and that gave them hope for the future. With renewed determination, the team began to plan their next steps. They knew they had to prepare for whatever the Xantari might throw at them next. Together, they were ready to face the challenges ahead, united in their fight for humanity. Can you get me the outlines of a HFY story in third-person style? I can just provide you with the title. You have to complete story in 5 parts. The title is Aliens Attacked Earth with a Bomb. Humans made it stronger and sent it back. Get me this in a document. And don't write the sentences in capital caps. And you have to use the names of American males and females. But don't use the names Thomas Reed, Sarah Chen, Jessica, Michael Anderson, James Walker, Jessica Parker, USS Prometheus, Mark Stevens, Emily Cooper, David Mills, Jennifer Hayes, Anna Reynolds, Rachel Hayes, Robert Nash, Brian Foster, Wilson, etc. Use some simple names. DNT, use ***, sign asterisk, in whole story sure. Here's a 5-part outline for a science fiction story titled Aliens Attacked Earth with a Bomb. Humans made it stronger and sent it back. The story is structured in a third-person style and avoids the specified names. Part 1. The Invasion in the not-so-distant future. Earth is thriving with technological advancements and cultural progress. However, this peaceful existence is shattered when a hostile alien race, known as the Xantari, launches a surprise attack on Earth. Their primary weapon is a massive bomb capable of devastating entire cities. As chaos ensues, the world unites to defend against the alien threat. Chaos. A young engineer named Alex finds himself at the forefront of humanity's response. He witnesses the destruction caused by the bomb firsthand and vows to find a way to turn the tide in humanity's favor. Part 2. Understanding the weapon after the initial attack. Alex and a team of scientists gather to analyze the alien bomb. They discover that it is designed not only to destroy, but also to adapt to any defense mechanisms humans might employ. As they work tirelessly in a secure military lab, they uncover the bomb's intricate technology and its underlying power source. Among the team is a brilliant physicist named Maya, who suggests a radical idea. Instead of merely disarming the bomb, they could enhance its capabilities and send it back to the Xantari. The team debates the morality of this decision, but the urgency of the alien threat pushes them to agree. Part 3. The enhancement process with a tight deadline looming. Alex and Maya lead the team in an intense development phase. They work around the clock, utilizing every resource available. They strategize on how to amplify the bomb's destructive potential while ensuring it remains under their control. As the days pass, tensions rise among the team, with some members questioning the ethics of their mission. However, Alex remains focused, driven by the need to protect humanity. They successfully modify the bomb, increasing its power and adding a sophisticated targeting system, ensuring it will strike at the heart of the Xantari fleet. Part 4. The modified bomb is prepared for launch. The Xantari prepare for another assault on Earth. The global military forces come together to coordinate a counterattack, establishing a launch site on a remote island. The day of the launch arrives, and Alex and Maya nervously watch as the bomb is loaded onto a spacecraft. The countdown begins, and the atmosphere is tense with anticipation. Just as the launch is set to commence, the Xantari initiate their attack, launching a barrage of weaponry at the launch site. In a thrilling sequence, Alex and the team work quickly to launch the bomb amidst the chaos, sending it hurtling back toward the alien fleet. Part 5. The aftermath: the modified bomb collides with the Xantari mothership, resulting in a massive explosion that lights up the sky. The Xantari forces, caught off guard, begin to retreat, realizing the humans have turned their own weapon against them. In the aftermath, humanity celebrates its victory, but the victory comes with a heavy price. Alex and Maya reflect on the moral implications of their actions, realizing that they have crossed a line in their fight for survival. As Earth begins to rebuild, they understand that the strength of humanity lies not just in its technological advancements, but in its ability to unite in the face of adversity. The story ends with a sense of hope for the future. As Earth prepares for whatever challenges may lie ahead, feel free to let me know if you would like to develop any sections further, or if you need anything else. Copyright Part 1 of 1,000 words in. It's a separate document, and it should be interesting, and write it in third-person style. And it should be in simple and basic English. Use simple and basic English, and without hating soft words. And DNT used to risk sign asterisk and whole story, and without heading, sure? Here is part 1 of the story in a simple and basic style, written in third person. The sun set over the bustling city of New York. People hurried home after a long day of work. Cars honked, and the streets were alive with chatter. In the heart of the city, Alex Thompson sat in his small apartment. He was an engineer who loved his job. He enjoyed solving problems, and he found joy in creating new things. But that evening, something felt different. Tension hung in the air, and the news on the television was alarming. Suddenly, a loud explosion shook the ground.
Alex jumped
from his chair and rushed to the window, saw a bright light in the distance, followed by dark smoke rising into the sky. People on the street screamed and ran in all directions. Alex's heart raced, quickly grabbed his phone and turned. On the news? Breaking news, the anchor said, her voice shaky. An alien race known as the Xantari has launched an attack on Earth. They have used a powerful bomb that destroyed a major city. Alex felt a chill run down his spine. He knew this was not just a movie. It was real, and it was happening right. Now, as he watched the news, the anchor reported that the explosion had devastated the city of Chicago. Buildings crumbled, and countless lives were at risk. Alex felt a wave of fear wash over him. He knew he had to do something. He quickly grabbed his jacket and left his apartment. Joining the rush of people trying to escape the chaos, the streets were filled with panic. People shouted and cried as they tried to find safety. Alex made his way to the nearest subway station, hoping to find shelter underground. As he descended the stairs, he noticed a group of people gathered around a small television screen. They were all watching the news. The anchor reported that the Xantari had sent more ships and more attacks were expected. Alex joined the crowd, his heart pounding. He listened as the anchor explained the situation. The Xantari were advanced aliens with technology far beyond anything humanity had. They had launched their attack without warning, and now they had the upper hand. The United Nations had called an emergency meeting to discuss how to respond. After a few minutes, Alex decided to leave the subway station. He needed to get to his workplace. As an engineer, he believed he could help in some way. He knew that his skills could be useful in this crisis. He rushed back to the surface and ran towards the engineering lab where he worked. The streets were still chaotic, but he pushed through the crowd, determined to reach his destination. When he arrived at the lab, he found it filled with people. Scientists and engineers were gathered around, discussing what to do next. The head of the lab, Dr. Williams, stood at the front, trying to organize everyone. Alex felt a sense of urgency in the room. He quickly joined the group, eager to contribute. "Listen up, everyone," Dr. Williams said. "We need to assess the damage and figure out how to protect ourselves." The Xantari have shown they are capable of great destruction. We must work together to find a solution. Alex raised his hand. What if we could reverse engineer their technology? If we can understand how their bomb works, maybe we can find a way to stop them. Dr. Williams nodded. That's a good idea, Alex. We need all hands on deck. Everyone break into teams. One group will analyze the bomb, while another will work on developing a defense system. We have to be quick. Every second counts. The team quickly divided into groups. Alex joined the group that would analyze the alien bomb. They had managed to recover a part of it from the wreckage in Chicago. It was a strange metallic object unlike anything they had ever seen. The material was smooth and shiny, with strange symbols and patterns etched into its surface. As they examined the bomb, Alex felt a mix of fear and excitement. He knew they were dealing with something dangerous, but he also felt a thrill at the challenge. The team worked diligently, taking notes and running tests. The atmosphere in the lab was tense but focused as the hours passed. They uncovered some of the bomb's secrets. It was designed to adapt to any attack. If they tried to disable it, it would find a way to counteract their efforts. This realization worried Alex. How could they possibly fight back against such a powerful weapon? One of the scientists, Jenna, spoke up. This technology is far beyond our understanding. We cannot simply dismantle it. We need a new plan. Alex thought for a moment. What if we could make it stronger? If we enhance its capabilities, we could send it back to the Xantari. It would never see it coming. The room fell silent as everyone considered Alex's idea. Dr. Williams looked thoughtful. It's risky, but it might be our only chance. We need to act fast. If we can turn their own weapon against them, we might stand a chance. The team reluctantly agreed to Alex's plan. They began brainstorming ways to enhance the bomb's power. They worked late into the night, fueled by coffee and determination. The lab buzzed with energy as they shared ideas and drew up designs. As dawn broke, they had a rough plan in place. They would focus on amplifying the bomb's energy source and improving its targeting system. After the intense battle, the team in the lab felt a mixture of relief and determination. They had succeeded in defending Earth against the Xantari attack, but they knew the fight was far from over. The Xantari were a powerful enemy, and they would not give up easily. Dr. Williams gathered the team to discuss their next steps. We have won a battle, but we need to prepare for the future. The Xantari will likely regroup and come back with a stronger force. We must remain alert. Alex looked around the room at his teammates. Everyone was tired, but their faces showed determination. They had fought hard and defended their planet, but they knew they could not let their guard down. Let's analyze the data from the battle, Jenna suggested. We need to understand what worked and what didn't. If we can learn from this, we can improve our defenses for the next time. The team quickly got to work, reviewing the footage from the battle. They studied the movements of the Xantari, ships, and the effectiveness of their own defenses. Alex felt the weight of responsibility as he focused on the screens. They had to learn from this experience to better prepare for the future. As they analyzed the data, they discovered that their new weapons had been effective against the Xantari ships. However, they also realized that the aliens had adapted quickly. The Xantari had changed their tactics during the battle, making it harder for the team to predict their movements. We need to develop a way to counter their tactics, Mike said. If they can adapt, we need to be one step ahead of them. The team brainstormed ideas, and they decided to create a system that could analyze the Xantar's movements in real time. This would allow them to adjust their strategies during battles. Alex felt a surge of hope as they discussed their plans. They were taking control of the situation. Over the next few weeks, the team worked hard to improve their defenses. They built a new command center where they could monitor the Xantari fleet and analyze their movements. The atmosphere in the lab was filled with energy as everyone focused on their mission. As they continued to prepare, they also reached out to other countries for support. They knew that a united front was essential. Many nations had suffered from the Xantari attacks, and they were eager to join forces. At an international meeting, Alex stood before representatives from different countries. He spoke passionately about the need for collaboration. Together, we can create a strong defense system. We must share our resources and knowledge to protect our planet. The Zantari are a threat to all of us. The representatives nodded in agreement. They understood the importance of unity in the face of danger. They began to discuss ways to combine their efforts and create a global defense network. As the weeks passed, the team made significant progress. They developed new technology that could detect Zantari ships at longer distances. They also created a series of automated defense systems that could respond quickly to any attacks one day. As they were testing their new systems, alarms suddenly went off in the command center. "Zantari ships detected," a technician shouted. "They're approaching fast." Panic spread through the room, but Alex quickly reminded everyone to stay focused. "We need to activate our defenses. This is what we have prepared for." Dr. Williams organized the team. "Everyone to your stations. We need to work together to defend against this attack." As the team sprang into action, Alex felt a surge of adrenaline. They had trained for this moment, and now it was time to put their plans into action. He monitored the screens, watching. As the Zantari ships moved closer, "Prepare the automated defenses," Jenna shouted. "We need to be ready to fire." The team activated their new systems, and the automated weapons began to lock on to the approaching Zantari ships. Alex watched as the screens lit up with data. They were ready to defend themselves. The Zantari ships opened fire, and explosions erupted in the sky. Alex felt the ground shake beneath him as their defenses responded. Bright beams of energy shot out, hitting the Zantari ships. The battle had begun. "Keep firing," Dr. Williams shouted. "Target their lead ships." The team focused all their efforts on taking down the Zantari vessels. Alex felt a rush of determination as he watched the screens. They were not going to let the Zantari destroy their world. As they engaged in battle,
Alex
noticed that the Zantari were changing their tactics again. They split into smaller groups, trying to confuse their defenses. "They are adapting," he shouted. "We need to adjust our strategy." Jenna quickly analyzed the data. "We need to focus on the smaller groups. We can take them out quickly. We can disrupt their formation." The team worked together, targeting the smaller Zantari ships. They fired with precision, taking down several before they could regroup. The atmosphere in the command center was electric as they fought back against the invading fleet. As the battle raged on, Alex felt a mix of fear and hope. They were fighting hard, but the Zantari were relentless. Suddenly, a massive Zantari ship appeared on the screen. It was larger than any they had seen before, and it seemed to be leading the attack. "We need to focus all our firepower on that ship," Dr. Williams ordered. "If we can take it down, we can disrupt their entire fleet." The team quickly adjusted their tactics, aiming all their weapons at the massive ship. Alex felt a surge of determination. This was their chance. "Let's do this," he shouted. With everything they had, they fired upon the massive Zantari ship. The screens lit up with explosions as their attacks hit the target. Alex watched with bated breath as the ship began to take damage. Finally, with one last powerful strike, the massive Zantari ship exploded in a brilliant flash of light. The team erupted in cheers. But they knew the battle was still ongoing. As the remaining Zantari ships began to retreat, Alex felt a wave of relief wash over him. They had successfully defended Earth once again. But he also knew that this was just one victory in a long fight. Dr. Williams gathered the team once more. "We have done well today, but we must remain vigilant. The Zantari will not give up easily. We need to continue improving our defenses and preparing for their next move." Team nodded in agreement. They had fought hard, but they also knew that the threat was not over. Together, they would continue to stand strong against any enemy that came their way. As they regrouped and began to plan for the future, Alex felt a renewed sense of hope. They were united in their fight for humanity, and together they would face whatever challenges lay ahead. With determination in their hearts, they were ready to defend their world. They knew that as long as they worked together, they could overcome any obstacle. The fight for Earth was far from over, but they were prepared to face it head-on. They were not just engineers and scientists. They were defenders of humanity. and they would stand strong against any threat that came their way.